We're talking about COVID, and of course, that's the way we always started. So this is one is no difference. And here's what I got to tell you: it is real. It is real. You can legally skip quarantine, and we're going to go into all the details. I know that you're all going to have a lot of questions about this, so I'm going to go into great detail as to what this is. And if you've got questions, we've got links in the description. Put your question in the form. You'll get an auto response back. I've got a bunch of links, resource links where you can go into more details to find out more about this, and we'll talk all about it. So let's roll here. So here's the way it works. So we're going to talk about this is all about how to skip quarantine legally, how to legally skip quarantine. And the way it fundamentally works is there's a couple of steps. You register at this website, travel.hawaii.gov. You take an approved test, which goes through a process to get you a QR code. You use that QR code when you get to Hawaii, you show it, and then you're allowed in. That's the quick overview. Let's go into some of those details of how that actually works. Next slide, please. Okay, so how to get the QR code. So what you got to do is you go to the website, travel.hawaii.gov. And this is like the most important thing that you have to do. Go to that website. There's an app there. You're going to register. You're going to use this app throughout your whole visit to Hawaii. So you go through and you fill out this profile form. And what happens is you create a trip where you give all the details of your trip. There's all kinds of stuff in the form for every leg of your travel. If you're going to go to the other islands, you got to basically give all the details of what that form is in that app. And then you upload the documents. The documents are going to be your COVID test results. And I'm going to talk more about the COVID test result in a minute, but you go get your COVID test result. It's got to be within 72 hours of your flight. You get those COVID test results. You upload those COVID test results through the app. And then what happens is within 24 hours prior to your flight, as the way you've documented it, you're going to get a notification from the Safe Travels app to answer a questionnaire. So you answer that questionnaire, and once you go through and you answer that questionnaire, you've done all these 4 steps over here, you get the QR code, and the QR code is the key. It is your pass. It's the way you get through the whole process. Let's talk about this a little bit. So here's how this works at the airport. So when you get on your flight, you come to Hawaii, you're at the airport. The key is you got that QR code with you, and I would probably have a printed version as well, just in case. So you got the QR code, it's on your app, you got your government ID, you've got your cell phone that's up and running and working. All the names match. It's somewhat of an obvious point, but I want to make sure you understand that all the names have to match. The name on the test, the name on the form, the name on your government passport, on your government ID. Those all have to match. But if you've got all that, what you then do is you've got your as you walk through, there's lines that they're going to have at the airport. The lines, you want to be in the line with those that have a QR code with, of course, a negative test result. That's the line you want to be in. The other ones are going to be much longer. The QR code line is the one you want to have. And as you go through that, there's going to be a screening process where this is why the cell phone's important. They're going to test your cell phone right there to make sure that they've got the right cell phone number on file. They're going to send you a text. Someone's going to, verify it right there. And they're going to verify that all your documents are there, that your documents are correct, they're accurate, and they're negative, of course, negative test result. Once you do that, you are home free. Because then what they do, it's actually, I'm fairly impressed by the process. They update the Safe Travels app that you logged into, and the Safe Travels app gets updated, and you get sort of your get out of quarantine free pass. That's that image that I've got here in the middle, trips. It's got a QR code, it's got your name, and it says that you're free to, you're quarantine free, you're negative and you're quarantine free. And this is what you use. You use this thing all over the place to show to the hotels, to the transportation, to whoever you need to show that you're exempt from quarantine. That's the key. And also you have to check in every day for 14 days. Again, with that Safe Travels app, I'm presuming there's going to be some sort of a notification that you're going to get. And that's how the whole process flies. Now, got a couple of details here that I also want to share about this. What about the other islands? You may ask, well, how does it fly? There are different rules and they're still being kind of worked out, but here's the scoop on the other islands. on the Big Island, if you go there and you visit our buddy Dylan over there in Kona, if you go to the Big Island, you got to do what they call a post-travel test at the airport. Now, this test is free of charge. They're paying for it. The county of Hawaii County is paying for that test. It's one of these quick 15-minute tests, and if it's negative, you're clear to go. Kauai this Monday is going to have a voluntary second test. They're going to make a second test available and ask that you use it voluntarily. It won't be mandatory. Maui already has that voluntary second test. Oahu is also trying to put together a post-arrival test, meaning that if you didn't take your test before you got on the flight and you're on Oahu and you don't have a QR code, you don't have a test result, they're working on making a post-arrival test available. And I want to stress working on, it's not here yet. All right, let's go. There's a little bit more details over here. Let's get to the next one here. So let's talk about this, the COVID test. This is really important. You definitely only want to use authorized partners. So I have a list here of all the authorized places where you can go to get this test that will be accepted by the Safe Travels app. So this is as of the 13th of October. I've got this list over here. If you're watching this pre-recorded, you may want to hit the pause button over here. I guess I'll rattle off a few names just to use up some time on the video. AFC Urgent Care, Bartell Drugs, Carbon Health, City Health Urgent Care, Color, CVS Health, Discovery Health MD, Kaiser Permanente, Vault Health, and Walgreens. You want to use those authorized partners to get your test, because otherwise it's not going to work and you're not going to get that QR code, which is really what you need more than anything else. And if you do all that, you're going to be just like, it is working. It is working. I was happy. Dare I say shocked? I wasn't shocked, but I was surprised how smoothly it seemed to go yesterday. We had 8,000 arrivals yesterday, and the majority of those arrivals had the QR code. So the system does work. People are using it, and Hawaii is open. I told you all to kind of hang in there. We'll let you know we are open. And there is a process to skip quarantine legally. And again, if you got some questions, I've got links to all the places that I talked about. I've got resources available for you all. If you want those links from me that I went through, that did my research, that gives you more details, more how-tos, just click on the link in the description, put in your question, just something like, hey, send me the links, and you're going to get an auto response. I've got those links in there, and we'll set that off to you. But that is the real big news, folks. And I'm completely stoked to talk about it. And I just wanted to, Scott and Dylan, during the week, as this was going on, I mentioned, hey, if you have any kind of interesting stories about the COVID thing or the whatever thing, let's kind of go in order here. Dylan, is there anything that you've been kind of hearing or you kind of caught wind of or whatever? Because you guys have got a secondary test. It's free. It's quick. What's the word on the street on the Big Island?
Well, everybody's obviously excited. I mean, lots of people are looking to return. I have some folks that I know coming in today, tomorrow, the next day. So there's definitely people that were in the queue ready to come. And so I'll definitely have better stories and evidence on how this all works and what the experience has been for these folks once they get here. But the interesting thing about this, and we'll see what kind of, how this all plays out, is this rapid test. Everything that I've been hearing about it when I talk to healthcare professionals and other things is that it's not that it's unreliable, but it's there's lots of different coronaviruses and it picks them all up. So you can there's a high likelihood that you get a false positive. It's you don't have COVID-19. You could have some other strain of COVID that is in your bloodstream that from the past. And so if that happens, it'll be interesting to see how people react to that and how they are going to make you do a secondary test that is the more in-depth test that takes 36 hours to get a result from. But that rapid test, if we start getting a bunch of false positives, we're going to have a lot of unhappy people arriving here, and we'll see how the county deals with that.
And by false positive means you take the test and it shows that you're positive, but it's false. You're not really positive, but it shows that you're positive. And so we all, including myself.
And it shows that you're positive because you have some strain of coronavirus in your system, where there are many strains. They're not all COVID-19. And I guess it picks up any one of those strains, even if it's dormant and you had it years ago. They can stick around in your system.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's well. Hopefully, that's going to. I'll talk more about that instant test. My thought on where that's all going to go in a second. Scott, what's the inside scoop? What's the word on the street that you've been hearing on Oahu?
Yeah, I mean everybody's excited for to try to start reopening again and having people come. So, there's definitely excitement there. I talked to 3 people who are coming over here. One's coming over Monday. They're in Seattle, and they had lined up at pretty much the premier place for getting tested in Seattle that the University of Washington had approved. It was free, and the test was a 24-hour turnaround. And then he found out, oh wait, I can only go to these 10 approved places, which he now couldn't find any place with an appointment prior to November 15th near him. So he's having to drive 35 minutes to go get the test, down the road. I have another client who's trying to come back here with his family to stay at his home, and he's in Utah, and the closest place for him to get tested is 200 miles away from his home. And then I had somebody else who's flying through San Francisco and going to do the United testing, and he called United. Hey, where do I go when I get to the airport? They said, we don't know. You got to call the San Francisco airport. So there's a lot, it's going to take some planning, some definite planning, and making sure you're on your P's and Q's and to make sure you can get through that first step in that process. Because the last thing you want to do is kind of ruin your vacation when you come over here.
Yeah, right on. And I'm going to leave this screen on of the authorized partners, because I think this is one of the most critical steps. And that's actually why I spent a lot of time to put together these slides for you folks, because there's a lot of details. There's a lot of moving parts. I've got the links. I got detailed links. Send me an email. I'll shoot you back all the info. You definitely want to plan this out. And I'd say this one is the most important piece, is to make sure you're going through an authorized partner. I'm sure this list is going to be changing over time, but that is, like, I'd probably say the most important thing, because if you ain't got that, you can't get your QR code. Ain't got the QR code, you're going to be under the same sort of 14-day quarantine, at least the way it works right now, until Oahu has a post-arrival check. It's not going to happen. So we have Michael. Michael made a little comment. So Michael canceled Westin Hapuna 3 times over the summer. But now over Christmas, that's $900 a day. Now that's a smiley face there, Michael. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know what Westin Hapuna. Did I say Westin Hapuna? I don't know if 900 is too high or too cheap or high for Christmas, but that's a smiley face, so that's a good thing.
That's high.
That's high. Okay,
it's double what it normally is. Yeah.
So this will be interesting to kind of see what goes on with that. All right. So I think if there's nothing else to talk about on we're all stoked and see how I am very, very hopeful, of course. It's great to see. And we're all going to be kind of holding on to our seats, because we're going to be wondering what's going to be happening when the visitors come in, and if the case counts go up and all that kind of stuff. And how's it all going to fly? We got a quick question from Tom. Might work for people in California and Washington, but what about East Coast travelers? Timing looks challenging. Yeah, I'm not sure, Tom. Basically, you've got 3 days, 72 hours to get the test. I think the key is to find out about the turnaround time. You want to get the turnaround time on those partners, and you want to kind of get a sense of, and this is the details I don't have for you because they're partner specific, how those partners notify you. Because essentially you've got the app, right? You've got the app with you. You're updating that app. Let me go back to the partners page over here. Well, I could keep this on so people could look at it. You've got the partners. Some partners will give you the information electronically, and if it comes electronically, you can just upload it into the Safe Travels app, and you're good to go. You may or may not need to have a printed copy, so you're going to want to think about that. Although personally, I'd want to have a printed copy. So you're going to you want to kind of think about that timing, how it's going to work. Ideally, you'd want to go with somebody who gives you your test results, within the same day or 24 hours or something of that nature, because then you can have the printed piece, you've uploaded into your Safe Travels app, and you're moving on to it. But timing is going to be key. I completely agree. So this is the great part about doing this live, right? So Michael came back. I am glad. Can't tell if 900 a night is too much or too little. 2 smiley faces for that. God bless you, Michael. It doesn't matter. You're going to be at the Westin Hapuna in December. So that's the good thing, right? We're in, and that's so awesome. Yeah. So it's going to be funny. I'm actually thinking on this, I'll make a quick comment and we'll move on the instant test. I see these instant tests becoming something like, for lack of a better term, like pregnancy tests, where I see you being able to kind of walk into to a pharmacy. You're going to buy a 12 pack, right? You're going to have a 12 pack of your instant test, and then you'll be able to kind of go wherever you need to go, and you'll take your instant test and kind of show that you're good to go, right? I can kind of see that.